Let's get back to Dublin with the redistricting.
Yeah.
So the Board of Education last night, they voted 5-0 to approve the guidelines to reshape the boundaries, which we've been talking about for months now because parents are very upset. But this is the boundaries for the district's 3 high schools, which Coffman, Scioto, Jerome.
Right.
And parents are upset. A lot of them are Jerome parents that don't want their kids going to Coffman.
Right. It is, yes. And others that don't want to send their kids to Scioto.
Right.
But like, there's, the accusations in there of like the district is putting too much focus on moving the fewest amount of students possible because they're like, they don't think, how do I put this? Is that parents are like, you're trying to, jockey around this to affect the fewest number of students possible, but not taking into account like traffic safety, etc.
Right. Yeah. Traffic safety is a big one. And the superintendent said that they're going to be bringing in now an outside consulting firm to help kind of figure out the new criteria and draw up the attendance map over the next few weeks. But yeah, the whole thing is kind of now their parents are saying there's traffic safety and just like neighborhood proximity concerns.
And when Dr. Marshhausen, the Dublin superintendent, was on last week, he did talk about that the reason they're bringing in this consulting firm is that, he felt that like, and this is all laid out because of Ohio code, like superintendents have the power in Ohio to basically create this themselves. Like if he wanted to tackle this issue by himself, he could.
Which he does
seems
not
like
want to do.
Not a great idea for
Hire
anybody.
The outside entity
so
to do
basically,
it.
yeah, they're bringing in this outside entity to take a look at how they can do this in probably the most efficient manner. I mean, we've got more than a month until those first maps are going to come out.
Yeah, it's June 29th, but I want to play some sound from the parents last night at this meeting.
A transparent process that codifies the wrong priorities is still a flawed process.
We can't use excellence as a marketing tool, but ignore it as a redistricting criteria.
Keep proximity and student safety at the forefront of this process.
Yep, student safety again.
Yeah.
Big concern from these parents. But.
And we know like who's not getting moved. We know it's those students who live within a non-busable distance. So like if you live within like a mile of the school, like you're not changing schools because you're already expected to walk. Like the school's not busing you there.
Yeah.
So those students will be left in place. It's going to be these like very boundary students. And the other thing that, got talked about that hasn't really been brought up too much in these meetings, but Dr. Marshhausen brought up last week is that because that we have to move the 3 high schools around, well, in turn, we now have to figure out how to do this with the middle schools.
Yeah, it's a trickle-down effect.
Right.
For sure.
And, I don't know. Everybody's going to end up affected. It's just how do you do it? Because we're planning to get this rolled out by what, the 27-28 school year? Yes. So
they did shifting around when I was in high school with Worthington years ago. I'm not going to give you guys a date. No. But it was like they had to move the middle schools around. And it was tough for students because they had friends and stuff at other schools. And like my class at Perry Middle School, which I think still exists. It's now Perry and Phoenix. Anyway, it's tough. And I think it is good that they're bringing in the outside consulting firm to do this and make up these maps. But again, like June 29th is when everyone will get kind of that first sneak peek at them.
right, because Olentangy did this not that long. I mean, it's probably been 10 years since they moved like Orange and Berlin and everybody around.
They're still growing.
Yeah.
So it's just such a thing with every school district in Central Ohio right now.
And I think that is kind of the hard truth about Dublin's growth is that it has to be done. There's really not another option. I mean, unless you build another building, basically. But then you still end up splitting kids.
Right. Like there's 2,400 at Jerome right now, and they like need to get that down to like below 2,000.
Right. So I mean, they have to build on a Jerome, but we just built on a Scioto and we just built on a Coffman too. No,
I
know Scioto's got
Coffman. Had the
right, because Scioto's got an addition that's getting ready to open up this fall. So it's one of those like I said, the district is kind of where they're at and the growth that it is, they've got to do some moving around. And it's unfortunate because it does land this very specific group of families in a tight spot.
Right.
Because, we've talked about it, that so many of these families moved into this specific neighborhood to go to, maybe we wanted our kid to go to Coffman or Jerome or Scioto. Well, now there's a chance that they won't be. And I think that's the frustrating point for a lot of people out there, is that, well, our plans, our best laid plans, kind of thing. But
yeah, a lot of buying a house is if you have a family, like where your kids are going to go to school.
And we know
so
that if you're buying a house in Dublin, that's not a cheap investment.
Yeah.
At all.
Depends where you are.
Yeah.